Mouse PI for Hire is finally here, and I've played through the whole game from start to finish, and I'm here to give you all my review of the game. But before we get into it, I would like to say a massive thank you to the developers for giving me a code for the game to be able to make this video. Now, while they gave me a code for the game, these are all of my own thoughts on the game. And with that said, let's get right into it, starting with what is Mouse PI for Hire. Mouse PI for Hire is a first-person shooter, and you play as Jack Pepper, a former war hero turned private investigator, played by Troy Baker in the city of Mouseburg, where a simple missing persons case leads you down a long path of corruption, and while investigating, you will get very familiar with your detective office and the friendly faces around it, and visit the nearby buildings to restock your ammo or upgrade your weapons, and upgrades you will need, because you will often find yourself in shootouts with the bad guy with a variety of different weapons, from accuracy to handling a crowd. Each gun packs its own punch, which you will need as you go level to level searching for clues to crack down on what's really going on behind the scenes. But what makes Mouse PI for Hire so different from other first-person shooters? Well, it's the art style. As you've probably noticed, it's in the rubber hose style from the 1920s to 1930s, and because the game uses that style, it has a lot of charm to it. Now, the next question is, how does the gameplay loop handle? And I think it works pretty well. You start off at your detective office and put your newly found clues on the board, and then you get a lead and you hop in your car and drive over to the location, and that's how you start a new level. You then run through the level, getting rid of anyone who stands in your way while searching for new clues, and somewhere throughout the level you will face a boss. And once you have found all the evidence you need, you get back in your car and drive back to your office and do it all again. And honestly, I quite enjoyed this loop because it goes from calm, restocking your ammo or upgrading your weapon, to fast-paced running and gunning. And the boss fights are all pretty good. No boss fight is bad, but some are more fun than others. So now you know a bit about the game, let's talk about what I liked about it. Starting off, we have the visuals. The rubber hose style works so well. It's a good mix of 3D space and 2D characters, and because it's in the rubber hose style, it is allowed to be silly and quirky. Like, look at the shotgun reload animation. Half of those shells didn't even go in. But because it can be silly and a bit extra, it adds a level of charm to the game that the current gaming market needed at this time. However, because everything is 2D, sometimes it can get a bit too quirky. Like when I got too close to one of the animators and he just started drawing in the air. Like, bro was locked in. But that was bound to happen because the way 2D characters work, but overall I really love the art style of the game. Another positive is the weapons. So far, every weapon I have found has had a different purpose. You start off with just a pistol and it's pretty good against a couple of enemies and for accuracy, but later on you get weapons like a shotgun, which is a good high-powered weapon, and this goop gun that does damage over time, and my favourite weapon so far is the James gun, which is just the Tommy gun. And I'm pretty sure it's a reference to James Gunn the filmmaker, which is neat. But the thing is, every gun has its purpose, whether it's for accuracy and long distance, or just trying to take down as many enemies as possible in a tight situation. However, I did find myself relying on the James gun the most. And speaking of weapons, you can actually upgrade them by finding blueprints throughout the level, which adds an alt fire to your weapon and makes it stronger and more accurate as well. You can upgrade your weapon 3 times and each tier is more expensive than the last. And after you upgrade it, a cool animation will play and visually upgrade your weapon, which is a nice touch. This game is full of references. So far I have found references to Steamboat Willie, James Gunn as I mentioned earlier, Mario with the pipe mechanics. The pipes are literally called warp pipes. The Konami code, and I believe Dark Souls with this campfire. And I have heard there are many more references to other media throughout the game that I have missed, but some of them are really obvious. Possibly my favorite thing in the entire game is the movement. I do not know what the developers were cooking with, but they cooked. It is so smooth to run and jump. If I'm in a wide open area, I will just find myself jumping around, and I don't know why, but it just feels like the right thing to do with how good the movement feels. And this gets even better when you start to combine it with some of the abilities you get throughout the game, like a double jump and using your tail to slow your fall, It is some of the best movement I've played with in a while, and nothing feels clunky. Now, while I am praising this game, I did unfortunately run into a few issues throughout my first time playing. The first issue or bug is while using the weapon wheel or changing settings, I would hear this weird buzz or static, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but it was quite annoying, so I tried to not use the weapon wheel if I could help it, and here's an example of the buzzing. The next issue is sometimes you can see things pop in and out of existence. Now, this isn't a major issue, but it does break immersion, and I think this is done to help the performance of the game, which overall the performance is pretty good, but there were a few times throughout the game where even my beefy PC had some major frame drops, but then again I was playing on max graphics at 240 frames, so that could have had something to do with it. I also managed to soft lock the game, but there's an area of the game where you have to go through a hole in the wall to jump to another building. However, there was just an invisible wall and I could not for the life of me get it to go away until I restarted the whole level from the beginning, which wasn't too bad because I could get back to that section in about 5 minutes now that I knew where to go, so this was more of an inconvenience than anything. However, this should be patched in the latest update for the game, which is good news. And something that does bug me is there is not a replay level feature as of yet. So if you missed something or wanted to replay a specific level, you would have to restart the whole game from the beginning, which is a bit of a letdown because I want to look through some of the levels that I didn't fully check out, but I would have to replay many hours of progress just to be able to look around again. So hopefully in the future they add the ability to replay levels that you've already played. So overall, Mouse PI for Hire is a game that knew what it wanted to be and strived to achieve it. It's a funny game that doesn't take itself too seriously, with references everywhere and some absolutely amazing music throughout the whole game. This is a fast-paced first-person shooter with some downtime to think and upgrade your loadout, and the thing is, the game is only 25 quid. Which for about 12 hours of gameplay is a bargain. That's about £2 per hour of gameplay, and if you want to go for 100%, you will definitely get some bang for your buck. And if I had to sum up what this game is, I would say a love letter to the art of movie making and cartoons, which is why it has so many references. Now, would I recommend this game? Yes, because I had fun from start to finish, and I didn't think I played for over 11 hours, but I did. The time literally flew by. And if you are into fast-paced first-person shooters with cheesy humor, definitely give it a go because it was a fun time. And I just want to say another massive thank you to the developers for giving me the game to make this video. I had a blast playing your game and I cannot wait to see what you make in the future. And with that said, I hope you have all enjoyed and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.